All right, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Club level access. And this is a little bit different because, I did not make a promise of any sort of content. We're just kind of giving a tour overall of club level, what it means, and see if it's going to be a fit for you guys. I do have a couple of things that we're going to be covering as far as where the average person is, some reasons for that, and maybe that will help you determine if this is really a fit. That ultimately is what I'm about. I'm not hardcore salesman. I'm not going to stay on here and say, all right, we're not leaving until everybody becomes part of the club level. It really needs to be a fit for you. We're a close knit group of online entrepreneurs, really love spending time together and making some great gains in business as a whole. This is a little bit of my background. Most of you guys are familiar with me and we've hung out together for a long time, but if not, if you're kind of new, then here is my background. My first business I owned was in 1991. Yes, all the way back in the 1900s. It was a fitness center called Pro Image. So I began in the fitness realm. In 1997, I started an online business. I have a site called Teen Life Ministries that is a youth ministry site. It has 3,000 members that pay $10 a month. And so that was kind of my first online big business. Then Nicheology that I bought from Jimmy D. Brown back in, I think, about 2007. Club Level, which you're learning about today. I've created and released hundreds of digital products. I've written 7 books, like physical books, not ebooks. And I've done over 2,500 presentations, and that's like live in front of human beings from a stage, and not simply online. I hadn't even counted my online presentations, so I don't even know how many those are. So that's kind of my background for those of you who are new, and that's all I'm spending on that. I'm not going to show you like a bunch of pictures of my Ferraris and yachts because, in Alabama, we don't have such things. It's all just kind of, just straightforward. That was it. Kathy says that her first business was 1974. I guess that's what you're saying, Kathy. That's back there in my very early days. All right, so why did you want to start an online business to begin with? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you probably started your online business. And one of these is probably a catalyst today to a very large extent, or it may be all 3. Most of us, when we come online to start our business, we tend to do it because we want to make a greater income. It's kind of a focus. That was one of the reasons that I wanted to do it, was to create some income that I didn't feel like I had to kill myself for all the time. When I started releasing books, I was like a lot of those guys in the 80s and 90s that had just stacks of books in their garage. And then I was going to the post office all the time, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to figure out a way where I could just do this online and it would be a lot easier and I wouldn't have to go to the post office. And that might seem a little bit lazy, but I just hated it. And so being able to come online and to create an income digitally was a really cool thing for me. Secondly, a lot of us got started online because we wanted to have an impact. We wanted to make a difference, that we wanted to be able to create some training or a tool or a resource or a program or coaching that was going to allow people to have a new life. And that, in essence, is really what we do. Sometimes we will say something like, I put together this coaching program, or I've got this 6-week course. And yeah, we do offer courses and we do offer coaching, but more than anything else, guys, we really offer a new life so that they gain the ability to do something that they've never done before. They gain knowledge that they've never had before. And so that's a big part of our impact. We impact lives for free when we're blogging, we're sending out articles, and then we impact lives through the income that we make when we're doing coaching or consulting or a course or anything along those lines. And it makes a big, big difference. So income is number 1, impact is number 2. And some of us came online simply because we wanted independence. We wanted to be able to control our time. I've been labeled somewhat at any occupation that I had as not necessarily going with the flow and questioning authority and having issues with whatever the rules were. And for me, none of that was about rebellion. That's just not my spirit. Some people like to talk about wanting independence because they just couldn't be a team player and they just didn't fit in and they were a misfit, and they had this rebellious spirit against the status quo. And I didn't necessarily have a rebellious spirit. I just did not I was not able to conform. I wasn't able to conform to the 8 to 5. I wasn't able to conform to rules. I always got up early in the morning my whole life. So I love, this is just me personally, but I love to work from like 4 to 8 a.m. It's my favorite part of the day. But I had some occupations where I might go in from 4 to 8, but they would say that didn't really count. We want you here from 8 to 5, period. And it doesn't matter if you get here early, and it doesn't matter if you get your work done early. We want you present. Well, that didn't really fit for me. So I needed more of that independence and that flexibility that was going to be a better match. So out of those three, and you can choose more than one, is it income, is it impact, or is it independence that you connect the most with? Why don't you type that in the little Q&A box there? I don't know if it's labeled chat box for you or Q&A box. Type in what the biggest draw is for you, whether it's income, independence, or any of those things. Independence, impact, independence, all three. I hear you. I think that's probably me too. Income and independence. Hey, Sue, glad you made it. Hey, Sue, type in yes if you're hearing me. All of these, I love it. Impact. Carol says, I'm on a mission. Great. Guys, this to me is important. It's important to have that determination, that why of why you want to do this. It could be income, it can be impact, it can be independence, and it can also be all three, as several of you guys said. I think that's really important to note and to be connected with. And so there's two most common kinds of IEs, or internet entrepreneurs, that I see over and over and over again. This isn't everybody, but I see this over and over again. Two folks that kind of struggle. Number one is the person who's just kind of lost. They don't really know what to do or how to put it all together or how to make it fit. They're wanting to do something. A lot of times this is the income people. I really want to make an income online. I'm just not exactly sure how to do it. Sometimes it's the impact people. I've got this great message that I want to share and this thing that is attached to my heart and I'm passionate about it. I don't really know how to make it profitable. And I've bought the courses and I've taken some steps, but I really still feel like it's not all coming together. I feel a little bit lost. And then even for the people who feel like, you know what, I want to be independent, but the challenge is I can't be independent without income and without impact. Often these three things are going to coincide and make it critical for us to really find our way. But I see a lot of internet entrepreneurs who are really lost. They've got a lot to offer, got great ideas, have incredible desire, and are even dedicated, just don't really know what to do. So I see a lot of folks in that category. I also see a lot of folks who are alone, who are out there trying to do all of this by themselves. They may actually have a plan, but they're out here on this road where they feel like, you know what, I really wish I had some other people to do this with. Now, this is where I was. I felt like I had a pretty good plan. I didn't feel too lost, but I felt, super alone. Even though I'm an introvert, it didn't mean that I wanted to be alone all the time. I really wanted to be able to share things that I was finding with peers in a solid format where we could really connect extremely well. And one of the ways that I ended up doing that was creating Club Level so that it would be a group of peers, a group of people on the same path, heading in the same direction, getting to do some things together. And that's exactly what I created. And I've even got some folks on here today that are going to share with you guys some of the impact of the Club Level and how it's made a difference in their life. And I know it's made a difference in my life from not being out there trying to figure everything out myself, because it's an experiment enough just trying to figure out how to do business, but it's even harder when you're trying to do business alone. And there's basically three reasons why this happens, why we end up lost or why we end up alone in our entrepreneurial journey. Number one is Frankenstein. We tend to buy a lot of different programs, a lot of different shiny objects, and not put them fully into play. You may see a little hand there beside your name in the little control panel. Raise your hand. Just click on the hand if you've ever been guilty of buying just like a crazy number of things and never putting it all together. Yeah, I'm seeing a boatload of hands. Now, here's kind of the good news. The kind of good news is that you're not alone. I'm seeing a ton of hands. You're not alone. We all tend to do that. We tend to be out here and see something that's attractive. It sounds like it's going to work. It makes a lot of sense. And so we get involved in it, and it doesn't go all the way for us. And what I discovered with this, because I've been down the same path, is that it was kind of Frankenstein together, because you would go out here and one person say, here's what you need to do to have the perfect lead magnet. And one person would say it was a one-page report. Another person would say it was a 100-page report. Another person would say that it was a video. And another person would say it was a webinar. And so you had all of these different components around this one thing that you're trying to put together. And then you ask somebody else, well, what's the first product that I need to do? One person says, hey, it needs to be high-level coaching. Another person says you need to create a course. Another person says you need to create an ebook. Another person says, no, you need to do something free, earn the trust, and then you can finally sell them something, right? So we've got all of this conflicting advice that we're trying to piece together ourselves. And so that's how we end up lost. And it's also how we kind of end up feeling alone, because we don't have anybody to really turn to that really helps us out with that. So we feel like, secondly, that there's really no help. That often we feel like we're kind of drowning in the sea of information, but nobody is throwing us the life preserver and pulling us back to shore and saying, hey, this is what we really need to do. This is how we need to focus. So often that happens to us. And then number 3 is loud advisors. If you are part of any Facebook marketing group, I guarantee you, the minute you ask a question, you're going to have 20 people answer you who have never done the thing that you're wanting to do. Right? How many times has that happened? Just type in yes if you've ever asked a question in a forum or a group and you got a ton of answers from people who really did not know what they were talking about. But I mean, they sounded confident. Yeah, I'm getting yeses across the board here. I think most of us have done that. And I love groups. I love Facebook groups, but I'm always amazed at the feedback that I get. Loud advisors of people who are going to say, this is exactly what you need to do. But the truth is they don't have experience doing that. So that's how we end up kind of lost and alone, is that we Frankenstein it together. We've got no help, get no life preserver. And we've got a group of loud advisors out there who are not really being helpful to us at all. And so that's why I put together the club levels, kind of to answer those things, give us a solid place to participate on equal footing among people who actually know what they're doing, or at least have a process to follow. And we're not having to Frankenstein everything together, and we're not having to be out there alone with no help, and we're not part of a group that is filled with people who have like zero experience, but we can each share our personal experience. So some of us may be at a level where we've really climbed the mountain, and we can give some feedback just about on all levels. And then others of us may not have climbed the mountain much at all, but we have this one facet down pretty well. Well, we need to be able to share that, and we need to be able to have a peer community that allows that to happen. And that's what the club level is. So it's based on 3 areas of success: content, coaching, and community. And I'm going to go through each one of these individually to show you what we offer inside the club level and what it means. So with coaching, it all begins with a call about mission. And this is a 45-minute to 60-minute call that you do one-on-one with me. If you decided today or in the next couple of days to join the club level, the first step is to actually have a call with me so that we determine exactly where you are in the process, what needs to be done first, so that you're not trying to do everything. You're only doing the one thing that you need to do most. Secondly, the coaching is through our velocity calls. These are 15-minute calls. This is not, let's get on the phone and hang out for an hour and just kind of wander around. A velocity call is 15 minutes so that you have a personal issue on, stuck on technology or stuck with your business plan. We hop on the phone and we knock it out fast. velocity calls. And you would think in 15 minutes you can't get much done. Absolutely you can. You can get enough done to keep you busy for the next week or the next 2 weeks so that you will implement that plan. So that's inside Club Level, and you can just book those anytime you want to. I don't keep count with stuff so that, hey, you get 2 velocity calls a month and that's it, and good luck to you. Because people keep count, we get focused on the wrong thing. If you have to keep up with the number of velocity calls and the number of emails you get or the number of times you can post, you're not doing what you need to do. You're down in the count trying to figure out, should I use this call or not? Is this problem big enough or not? Instead, you don't have to worry about that in Club Level. You can email me anytime that you want to, that you've got a question, you've got a need. I answer most emails in the morning, but occasionally I may answer one in the afternoon. If you get hung up on something, just send me an email. I'll email you back personally. The Facebook group, I really love it when people post questions in the Facebook group, because all of Club Level can kind of help out with that. And say, here's what I'm doing, here's what's going on. I've got 2 levels of Club Level, and the upper level is called AMP, and that also includes Voxer, where you can just like walkie-talkie me on my phone if you've got a smartphone with Voxer on it, or you could text me if you wanted to. Or and you also have a one-on-one VIP day, so that we would sit down together one-on-one and actually work on your business a full day, in person or by webinar, whatever you want, but that's only at the upper level. Now, before I get to that and get to the next section, I'm going to bring on one of the Club Level members named Samantha. Samantha, let's see, I'm going to try to unmute you and see if you can talk through your computer, Samantha.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Now, that sounded like some old school. I said, let's see if you can talk through your computer. Who would even say something crazy like that?
I don't know. Only you, Paul.
That did not sound right at all. Okay, so guys, are you able to hear? Type in yes if you're able to hear Samantha. Good, perfect. All right, so Samantha's part of Nicheology Club Level, and I love having her as part of this because she's done so many great things, and she's actually going to be doing something really special for us next week that I'm going to cover at the end of this time today. But Samantha, tell us a little bit about Club Level, what it's done for you, what the coaching has helped you with, etc.
Thank you, Paul. I wanted to talk to everyone on the call today and specifically share my experience. The reason I chose to work with Paul is that he's very experienced in internet marketing, and he's somebody who I would trust to give advice to me. And also, I like that you're, Paul, not caught up in all the kind of hype and cult of personality that I see a lot of times in online and in internet marketing and places like that, and because I just don't want that. I really want to have a low-key business that's run via my values, and that doesn't mean I don't want to have a lot of success, because I do, and I think I like to model the things that you've put together. So I really like Paul's personality, and I like the other people who are drawn to working with Paul. And one of the things that is important for me is to have an outside advisor for my business. Whenever I'm working with coaches, I always tell them it's important for coaches to have coaches, because it gives us empathy for our clients, because a lot of times they'll show up and we'll be like, how come you didn't do anything all week? And they'll be like, I don't know, the week just flew by. And when you have a coach, the weeks fly by. So I didn't really need help with implementation. I have a team. We take action really quickly, but what was very helpful to me is to have access to Paul to lay out a plan, and then for me to just be able to run off and do it. And if I run aground or if I have some questions, I can ask Paul, or I can ask our group in the Facebook group. So the big things that I was able to get done this year because of having Paul as an advisor, and his tools that I think he shares that are really, really great at helping you focus and get into action. A lot of great templates and tools. Well, in the first quarter, I took focused action using Paul's planning tools, and we added 8,777 people to our list. I'd had a goal of hitting that number by the 1st of April, and I actually hit it earlier than that even. I attended one of Paul's trainings for speakers. I think everybody who's involved with Paul should learn speaking tips from him, because this is really his genius zone. And attending his speaking training, I was really able to pull out key parts of my story and prepare a signature speech that I think is really powerful in both my video trainings that I do and also in the presentations that I do. And what's been best of, for me this year and looking towards 2016 has been simplifying my product line. I've been in business 16 years. We have a ton of information products and programs and things, and I feel like it's kind of gotten unruly. And so what Paul has been very helpful at doing is taking my curriculum and condensing it into something that is very easy to present to potential clients so that they can just clearly say yes to it. And I've got a new program going. We've already got $27,000 of sales for that new program for 2016, which is nice. It's always nice to start the year with a big income boost. And we had our second best earning year this year, but what was important about that was I worked probably fewer hours and fewer days this year than I have ever since I started my business.
I love that. And a while ago when I was asking about impact, income, and independence, Samantha put independence with like all of these exclamation points. You've done a great job being able to make some of that shift between working all the time and then being able to enjoy life with the income that you're producing.
Absolutely. That is super important to me. And I'd agree with everybody who said all three. I mean, I do, of course, want to bring in tons of money, and I love making a big impact on my clients. But those were focus areas for different years for me. And I'm really at the point in my business where I feel like I can focus on having more independence and spending less time in my business while still being able to make that impact.
Yeah, I love that. And I loved the time we were able to spend together on the one-to-one day there in New York City. So that was a blast.
It was a blast. I mean, this is the other thing is it can be really fun to work on your business and get away from it and think thoughts and just really have a conversation on the level of somebody who can meet you at a strategic level. Or if there are areas where you're just starting out, I don't do a lot of speaking, so it's very good for me to be able to go back and kind of really relearn the basics and look at that. And Paul, I just wanted to share one thing about our community that we have together.
Yeah.
In case I'm not around for that part of your presentation, I think what's been really helpful for me is having other business owners who are at the same level, or all different levels, but who have had good experiences to be able to share. We've had some conversations about dealing with burnout in our business. If you've been at it a long time, or sometimes if you're new, you just get worn out. We've been talking about things like needy clients. I mean, I would never talk about that in public because I would hate for anybody who is a needy client to see that post on Facebook or anything. But in your private group, we've been able to bring forward things that are on our hearts and that are very, very private and personal topics, and share them with everybody. So that's been something that I'm very grateful to you for, is bringing together a community of people who are capable of sharing on that level and experienced enough and supportive enough to do that.
I love that. Yeah, I definitely feel like we got a great group, special group where we do get to talk about those items and those issues that we really can't and shouldn't be posting out online and publicly because they are of a more sensitive nature, and you need to be able to have a team of people to turn to be able to rely on and have that sort of camaraderie and privacy to be able to share that. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yes, confidentiality.
Confidentiality. We will not share anything publicly here. Thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Thanks, you too. Okay, so that covers, the coaching elements, and you're welcome to ask any questions about that at the end. Secondly is our content. And this is the framework that I use in my business and that we use in the club level. I'm going to be going through each one of these again this year. This is kind of our content for the year: your message, your market, your model, and your monetization. Your message is your cause, your content, and your connection. And all of these are going to be dealt with in depth inside club level. Your audience, how you attract them, how you automate. So this is the process of gaining leads and making sales. Your model, are you a coach, a teacher, or a reporter? So we want to make sure that you're in alignment with who you are and how you want to operate. And then how are you going to monetize? Do you want a premium offer? Do you want to use products? Or do you want to propel or point people to something else through affiliate marketing? So we teach on all of those elements so that you're able to align yourself with the way that's best for you. All of this is inside the members area. And I do charts and different types of worksheets that you can use for content planning, video flow, things along those lines that are going to make it really easy for you to put these things into play And then I'll also share, part of the content is just sharing what I'm doing. And others are sharing what they're doing as well, so that we get to benefit from each other's success. So this video down at the bottom is one of my YouTube videos. I've had 133,000 views, 133,744 views as of this morning. I think 619 shares, about 716 likes, and about 90 comments. And of those views, what I share inside Club Level is exactly how I got those. What was the process for that? How do you duplicate that? And so all of that is part of the content as well. It's not simply, hey, go and pay attention to this static training. We're also sharing exactly what we're doing day to day in our business and making sure that is accurate and that it is duplicatable for others. And in just a minute, I'm going to share with you something that Samantha is going to be sharing next Tuesday, which is going to be super cool. And then the last part is community. So that's our Facebook group that is just daily. Every single morning I post the day, such as today, I put Tuesday, what and when, W-I-N. What are you working on today? And that helps keep us accountable so that every single day we report what we're doing that day. Then momentum occurs every single Monday. So every Monday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, we get together. We just got done with the book, The 12-Week Year, and we're about to implement that. More on that in a minute as well. So every Monday we have a group meeting, and then we have 2 live events a year. The next one is going to be in March, and probably the one after that is going to be in September. And that's where we get together as a mastermind. There's no extra charge for that. You just come. I mean, it costs you to get there, but other than that, you just come and participate in a mastermind. Let me make sure that Sue is still here. Sue, I'm about to make your microphone live. Unmute Sue. Hey, Sue, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Sue is the Confident Marketer. If you go to confidentmarketer.com, this is Sue Painter. She's been part of Club Level. I don't really know how long at this point, but I would say several years. She's got a lot of wisdom, a lot of experience. She's very successful in her online business and her coaching programs and products that she's created. But Sue, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us a little bit of how the Club Level has impacted you and anything that you've gained from it.
Okay, I'd be glad to. Thanks for having me on here, Paul. Um, there's 2 things that I always know will benefit my business so much from being in Club Level. And I have been doing this for years now, and believe me, I wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't helpful to me. The first thing is what Paul was talking about in terms of really focusing in on what is your goal, what is it that you're really in your heart to do for your business, and how are you going to monetize that. I love that I have access to Paul anytime. If I get stuck or if I'm thinking about a new idea, like I think I had one a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, Paul, I'm thinking about kind of changing my message and putting this in a video. And Paul was like, yeah, I like it. Go with it. I think that your message is clear here. So I have always appreciated that there's a sounding board, a place where I can go and just see if my thinking is straight and that I'm on the right level toward taking something from an idea to actually monetizing it and making money at it. The group is really great at supporting that, and Paul is great individually at supporting that as well. And the second thing that I really love is our community. Paul, you were talking about the Facebook group and about the fact that we're going to be getting together in March. I have come to really rely upon and trust that community. It's a very close-knit, tight community. Often we can share in there about software or other tools that we're thinking about buying, whether it's been worth it or not, if somebody else has tried it. I've saved a ton of money by asking a couple of questions ahead of time about, do you think this is worth it or that is worth it? And we kind of talk those ideas around, or if someone's tried it, they give their experience. So that sense of community is great for me. It's the first thing I check every morning. There's always something from Paul about what we're going to do. What are you up to today? And that keeps you accountable. But it's also a place to get support and encouragement if you're excited about something or if something's not quite going right. So the community support and then the individual access to Paul are things that are really priceless for me in my business and have helped me stay focused, but also led me through when I needed to refocus and shift my business.
Yeah, I love that. Sue's very intuitive and can do a lot of things on her own, but she likes to have that second opinion. She likes to be able to bounce some ideas off others. I do it as well within the group, and it really gives us a great place to, like Sue said, to get that feedback. And if that means that we get to save money on some products that we don't want to or shouldn't be using. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was last month, Sue asked me about a particular software. And then I received some ads about it. So I went and checked it out and utilized it. And the experiment was pretty close to a complete fail. And Sue was like, wow, I'm glad I didn't buy that. And some others in the community are like, Paul, we're glad you bought it and you learned from it. And we got to figure out that we didn't need to use that. And so that's part of the community as well. It really does make an impact. Also, Sue, one of the things that she continues to bring to the table is in our momentum meetings on Monday. She always just has great feedback, and I always appreciate her being able to come in and use her experience to be able to share and say, this is exactly what I'm seeing in the marketplace right now, or this is where I'm seeing things shift. So Sue, I really appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. And one thing I meant to mention is, as far as software, yes or no, or whether this system works, if it's something that several of us are now using because it's a new tool that is helpful, often I will learn in our group a different way or another way to use it that I hadn't thought about that actually saves me a lot of time. So like the learning curve, if you are going to do something new, can always be shortened by just asking around a little bit in the group, because chances are somebody else has been looking at it or working with it too, and that has been really valuable to me.
So true. Thank you. Thanks for being on today, Sue.
Sure.
Thank you. When I was thinking about this and doing this event, and I thought, well, I need to invite some from Club Level to come in. I didn't even ask them what they were going to share. It could have been a risk, but no, it turned out good. But I knew Sue and Samantha that have been here so long and have had such an impact on the group, and the group has impacted them. I just love for you guys to be able to hear from them, so that it's not like I pasted a testimonial up or I found, the greatest thing about myself to post. And I see that all the time. I want you to hear from real people who are experiencing it day to day. And we all do have such a great time together. So momentum, the part of the community that meets on Monday, I want to go ahead and give you this just from the time facet in case you're interested in Club Level, so that you would know exactly what you're going to be jumping into super quick. We're doing the 12-week year, and it's a book that is going to be a focus for us in the first quarter of this year that is going to allow us to focus on some primary goals. Some of us are doing physical goals and a business goal. So I'm about to lose a bunch of weight, but my focus for the first quarter is list building. We've got another part of the group that's going to focus on monetization. And what that means is that if you're part of Club Level and you're really interested in list building, every single Monday, we're going to be doing list building, keeping an account, reporting on where we are, figuring out, what needs to change, what needs to shift. If you're most interested in monetization, you've already got your list and you just want to make more money from it, then every Monday at that same meeting, we're going to be talking about monetization, what's working, what isn't working, holding our feet to the fire, and making sure that we're staying on track. This is not, here, go take this list building course. It's, here's the best way to build your list. And now what are going to be the steps to do that? Let's go do those things. Now, the cool thing for us who are list builders, and I'm super excited about this, January the 5th, next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, Facebook Leads to List with Samantha that you heard from a few minutes ago, Samantha Hartley from Enlightened Marketing. And she had that 8,000 additional new people to her list. Her goal was to do it by April, but she did it in the first quarter. She's going to be teaching us exactly how she did that. And she promises that it's not even complicated. I have yet to find out if that is true, but I definitely trust Samantha. But she built 8,000 new people on her list in the first quarter. What would happen to your online business if you had 8,000 new people? I'm even excited about that. So I'm going to be doing the list building portion. I'll be sharing what I'm doing during that 12 weeks. If there's something in there that you feel like, wow, that worked for me too, yeah, jump on it. And we'll also be critiquing each other, helping each other, spurring each other on. And so that's actually beginning Monday, January the 4th. And January the 5th, Samantha is going to teach us Facebook leads to list, and that is on January the 5th at 1 p.m. So that gives you a pretty good overview overall. Oh, Samantha gave me a note here, 8,777 leads. 8,777 new people. Sorry, I undershot. All right, so 2 options. Number 1 is you keep going it alone. That's just no fun. I'm not even going to keep that up on the screen. And number 2 is that we go together, that you become part of Club Level and we go on this trip together. So I don't have like this big stack model of stacking all the values up. I'm just going to give it to you straight. Here's what Club Level is. It includes everything there to the left except what's X'd, which is the AMP call, which is a longer call per month, so that you get the velocity calls automatically, which are 15-minute shots. But if you feel like, you know what, I want to get together once a month or twice a month for an hour and really dive into this, well, you get that AMP call at the AMP level. That's on the right. If you want to be able to text me and do Voxer and things like that, that's part of AMP. If you want to get together one-on-one for a VIP day, that's part of AMP. And that's the only thing that I will give you price-wise. Like I do VIP days for $7,500 for one day if you just want to know what that standalone price is. So Club Level is $197 a month and AMP is $497 a month. You can go to paulbevans.com/CL and it'll take you to the checkout page for Club Level. If you go to paulbevans.com/AMP or AMP, it's going to take you to the checkout for the AMP level for $497 a month. So it's $197 a month, $497 a month for everything that we've talked about today. And if you've got questions, just type those in right now. Questions about the program, questions about what we're doing, questions about the content, the community, the coaching, what's included, what's not included. I tried to be pretty clear today. If it's not, then I definitely want you to ask questions and see if I can clarify anything for you. And if you've just got any questions at all about any of the things that I've covered, feel more than free to ask those now. But if you go to paulbevans.com/CL, that's going to take you to the $197 a month checkout. If you go to paulbevans.com/AMP, that's going to take you to the $497 a month checkout. And everything that you see checked is included in your program, depending on the level that you want to go to. And if as far as minimums, sometimes people want to know, well, how long do I need to be a member? If you're going to do AMP, you need to be a member for a year. I think it ought to be a year on both. But for AMP, it ought to be, you need to be able to sign up for a year so that you'll be able to cover that VIP day. Hey, Frank, it's not. It's the same thing. Frank was saying, is this different from the Nichology Club Level? It's the exact same thing, Frank, and I'm just calling it Club Level because everybody does not know what Nichology is, even though Nichology is actually included in the content. Hey, great question, Lewis. If you're already a lifetime Nichology member, Lewis, just email me, paul@paulbevans.com, paul@paulbevans.com. Rob asked, how much content is available in the members area? Rob, that is a super good question, and I don't have a great answer to that. I would say it's somewhere in the realm of a lot, but you also get access to nichology.com, which has been online for like 10 years, and you get all the content in that as well. Which includes a ton of training, ton of private label rights if you're into that sort of thing, and a ton of back calls as well. So I wouldn't even know how to even say how much content is in there. It's a lot. What I discourage is going in and going through all the content. What I encourage is you saying, this is where I'm stuck right now. Here's the next step that I need to take. How do I get there? So that we're not doing consuming as much as we're doing quick learning and implementation. My overall formula that I tend to teach from is information plus installation multiplied by implementation equals transformation. So information is the content that we learn. Installation is how does that thing that I learned apply to me? How do I install it in my business or in my life? So we've got to take the best parts of that information and make it applicable and that happens in installation. And then implementation is actually doing the thing. So let's say that you don't have a product yet, and I've got training on how to set up your shopping cart. Yeah, don't even need to go through it. We need to begin with list building and getting the course in place, right? So I would say the best question is not how much content, but here's where I am. Is there something already available to match that? And secondly, if it's not, how quick can you answer it? And I can probably answer it same day. But great question. Cool. Carol said, I'd like to talk to you about this. I'll send you an email to schedule a quick call. Absolutely, Carol. No problem at all. Okay, Frank says, explain the AMP call, Voxer, and the VIP day again. So the AMP call is a longer call than the velocity. If you're at club level, you can do a velocity call anytime you want to. It's 15 quick minutes. If you want a longer call, like you're saying, hey, every single month, I want us to sit down for about an hour and maybe do a webinar, and I want to go over my numbers. I want to go over my conversion rates. I want to go over this survey that I'm doing. I just really want your eyes on this on a deeper level and a longer level, so we can have a longer conversation on this. No problem. That's really what the AMP call is. It's a longer call if you're wanting to go deeper. A Voxer is really a walkie-talkie more than anything else. And if you've got an iPhone, and I think that it's probably on some other systems too, but I'm not familiar with them, where you basically just press a button and you leave me a really quick voicemail without having to call. And it may say something like, hey, this is Frank. I was really wondering about my lead magnet. I'm not exactly sure what is going to be the best thing. This is what my people struggle with the most. And so I listen to that. I press the button and I say, Frank, here's what I think is really best, given your market, given their interest level, given the amount of time that they're going to stay on your list before they drop off, given their, the proven model over the scope of time, then, here's what you ought to do. Here's what's going to impact them quickest. And so I just voicemail you back, basically. And then the VIP day is where we get together in person, one-to-one. Like Samantha and I met in New York, which was pretty cool. And we met there and spent the day just working on her business one-to-one. So if you want to have an overhaul, we can do that. If you come in and say, all I want to do today is us focus on how I can create the perfect sales webinar for my business, start to finish, get all the slides made, everything, you may use your VIP day for that. But it's basically a 9 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. day where we work together one-on-one in person. Let's see. Rob says, can you describe, again, the velocity call? Yeah, Rob. So velocity call is where you're just really kind of stuck on something. You don't necessarily want to share it with the community or the group. And you feel like, you know what, I just need to get some clarity on this. And this has been wide open. It's been everything from, hey, I'm just really struggling as an entrepreneur. Can we just kind of talk about what it really means to be a business owner as compared to being an employee? Let's just get on the phone and talk about that. That could be a velocity call. Other times it could be something along the lines of, hey, I think that I'm getting my membership site together, but I think I'm making it complicated. Can we hop on a quick call and uncomplicate it? So a velocity call is great for the things that are not easy to address in email and maybe not always best to address in the community, but aren't going to require an hour, quite honestly. Most things don't. For the most part, we just need to hear what the problem is and give a quick solution, and we're done. Most of the things that we spend so much time twirling around in our brains and getting complicated could really be solved in about 15 minutes. Yeah, Rob, the regularly scheduled group calls or one-to-one interactive meeting is every Monday. That's the Momentum group over here. So where you see Momentum under community, that happens every Monday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Frank says, thanks, you're welcome. Any other questions? paulbevans.com/CL for club level. paulbevans.com/AMP or AMP for the upper level. And what will happen when you check out, you get a welcome email. You'll be sent directly to clublevelmember.com and you'll set up your account. You'll also, once you set your account up, there'll be a page that'll tell you about the velocity calls. It'll tell you about setting up your first call that's longer. your mission calls that we get on and really focus on your business. And it'll also give you a link to the private Facebook group, which I would encourage you to do as quickly as possible to have access to that. And you can just roam through previous posts and things along those lines. But more than anything, pop in, introduce yourself, and we'll get rolling that way. And I'm not in any form like a hider. You will never have difficulty finding me or contacting me. I'm in the group. Anytime something pops up in my notifications on Facebook, I'm there. You can always private message me on Facebook. You can always set up the Velocity call. You can always email me. So it's not like, once this happens, how will I find you again? The question will be, how do you ignore me again? You'll always be able to find me. Don't laugh at that, Carol. She put a LOL in there. Carol Bremner, one of our members, says answers on Facebook are almost right away. And listen, I use the group too. Yesterday, I was working on a course for Udemy, and I had a question about whether or not I could do that for free all the time. And I said, I want to ask the Udemy Pro of Club Level, which is Carol Bremner. And she answered me a little bit later. And I was like, wow, Carol, thank you so much. So I'm even utilizing the group for my own business. So Carol, thank you very much for your answer. And now I'm able to launch my plan more effectively. Any other questions, guys? Anything else on your heart or mind that you want to ask about? I will send out a replay of this to give you some more information if you want to. Otherwise, just go to paulbevans.com/CL197 a month, paulbevans.com/AMP 497 a month. All right, I don't see anything else coming in. Guys, thank you so much for coming through. Oh, Rob says, so Udemy has helped you build your business. It has mine, Rob, but I'm super specific and strategic with it. If you're just going to set up a course and just put it on there, it's not going to do very well. But I've definitely learned a lot from Carol, and what I'm about to implement with my free course is definitely going to help me build my business as well. So super good question. Thanks. All right, guys, I will send these links out. Everybody who registered will be getting an email from me giving you the replay, giving you these prices, and giving you a deadline as well, which is really going to be on Tuesday because we're going to be starting our training with Samantha on Tuesday as well. I would encourage you to do it immediately and be part of getting started this weekend, and also be part of that first momentum call as we start this 12-week year on Monday. Let's get this year started right. Let's crank it up. Let's take the year by the throat, so to speak, and just rock it. Knock it out of the park so that we just crush this year. And you guys know what I'm going to close with. I say it every single time, and it's certainly no different this time. Success is not an accident. Be blessed.